guys are now watching another segment of the TheCaliEffect. Today, I'm going to be talking about the top 5 synchros of all time. Well, everybody knows since the dawn of the Duelist Genesis that there's always been this competition between the synchros. Now, granted, synchros did change the way that we play, but what 5 in particular synchros were the best synchros to shape the way that we play? Well, we're going to start off at number 5 with Stardust Dragon. Its 2500 attack at the given time was stronger than any Monarch that was ever played. The only thing that was stronger than it, in retrospect, that was competitive was Light and Darkness Dragon, which still had a hard time being summoned once Stardust started to develop into the card that it is today. Stardust's effect is, if your opponent activates a spell, trap, or monster effect that destroys cards on your side of the field, you can tribute Stardust Dragon to negate and destroy the monster's effect. Now, one would think, so I'd have to give up 2 monsters to special summon this monster, and then just to get rid of my opponent monsters when they try to destroy something? The amazing thing about Stardust is that during the end phase that you activated that effect, you can special summon it back to your side of the field. And that's what made Stardust the most amazing card since Sliced Bread in its debut. It made cards like Sakuretsu Armor and Zabor the Thunder Monarch completely obsolete in the game. Stardust was definitely a game changer. So, seeing that also on top of that, it was relatively easy to bring it out. Stardust Dragon is a really good card in being able to control the board and prevent the opponent from destroying your type of stuff. It even has a lot of support behind it, being Shooting Star, Shooting Quasar, Stardust Assault. It has so many great things going for it. What ultimately solidified Stardust Dragon in the later formats is that it was a Dragon Ruler target. It was actually one of the most prime Dragon Ruler targets because they can make Stardust Dragon under skill drain and protect their skill drain, ultimately dominating the decks that it would hate, like Prophecy, and other decks that solely based itself on monster effects. Stardust Dragon is a great card. It's a card that can predicate any type of format when you need to protect some cards on your side of the field, and also has a big 2500 body and is worth the investment to place against a destruction heavy type format. The next card, number 4 on the list, would be the card to actually stop Stardust Dragon and any of the monsters on this list from being played. Crimson Blader. Now, Crimson Blader is a 2800 body monster, and its effect reads, if it destroys a monster by battle, your opponent can't normal summon or special summon level 5 or higher monsters for the rest of their next turn. So Crimson Blader essentially makes this list because it's a synchro monster, a level 8 synchro monster, that prevents the opponent from synchro summoning into high-end monsters, or even going into high-end Exceed summons in the normal way that you would do about it. Crimson Blader has an amazingly strong attack, coupled with, the ability to run over certain type of decks. It completely shuts them down. For example, in the Dragon Ruler format, Crimson Blader was prime because if you did run over a monster and send it to the graveyard, you essentially stop your opponent from playing, Yu-Gi-Oh! For their very next turn. It was extremely hard to get over it too, and it's normal sense seeing that Blaster is only 2800 attack, and that's the only Dragon Ruler that could get over it if it was already on the field, and if it didn't bounce back to the hand some miraculous way. It was extremely hard to win if you ever got Crimson Blader in the Mermail matchup as well. If you Crimson Blader any of their monsters, and they don't have an out to it with with Atlantean Infantry or some other means, then it becomes extremely problematic because now they can't make any of their synchros or high-level Exceed plays that they're so well known for. Crimson Blader ultimately shuts down decks completely, and it prevents the opponent from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's the biggest reason why this 2800 monstrosity makes the list. Next on the list will be Leo, Keeper of the Trees. Oh my god, Leo is, I wanted to put him at higher in the list just because of his 3100 attack strength. There are not a lot of cards that can beat Leo in battle. One in our game being Star Eater. The other one is coming out in the later set called Apocalypse, the Killer, whatever it's going to be changed his name into. But those are really the only 2 cards in a competitive scene that can get over Leo. His 3100 body reigns that I am the king, but that is not why he makes number 3 on this list. Leo cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects until your main phase 2. And that's, you can only enter your main phase 2, or you have to enter your main phase 2 only if you enter your battle phase. And then on top of that, there's not a lot of cards that can target that can activate at will under Phoenix Wing Blast and Karma Cut. But then on the same time, if you're not playing Burning Abyss, Phoenix Wing Blast and Karma Cut are very hard to play. And just the fact that you could have entered battle with Leo means that he probably did some damage on the way to your main phase 2. Leo is almost indestructible in this format where cards are heavy targeting. The hands, Dimensional Prison, the Shadow Monster effects that send back to the deck or whatever are all useless against the almighty powerful Leo. Well, that and his attack is just outrageously big, and his ability to be made is extremely easy. Being a level 10 synchro, one would think that summoning Leo would be pretty hard, but all it takes is a level 3 tuner and a level 7 monster, or a level 6 monster, or a level 6 tuner like Labradorite Dragon, and a level 4 monster. It's not hard to make Leo in a lot of decks. Leo is extremely strong, his effect is really good, and if left untouched, he can dominate and possibly even win you games in certain matchups. Next on the list would be Armadas, Keeper of the Boundaries. Now Armadas comes in and he says, I'm gonna fuck your girl, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, if he's already in there, he's gonna be in there, and he's gonna do what he has to do until he's done. And that's what Armada's essential effect is. When Armadas is attacked or attacks, cards and effects cannot be activated until the end of the damage step. So there's so many great cards out there, most Burning Abyss cards and all of the Shadow monsters, that Armadas can essentially run over and completely prevent its effect from ever activating. Armadas is really good at getting over floaters and flip effects, something that is extremely relevant in this format. Armadas has a nice 2300 attack body, which just seems to fit over just about anything that's necessary. And the best thing about Armadas is not only can it get over floaters and flip effects, your opponents can't activate anything in response to it attacking. So bye-bye Deep Prison and cards alike, you can't activate while Armadas is going in. And essentially stopping cards from Gores and Battle Fader to be dropped, Gores being a card that just dropped down to 2, will essentially win you the game. Armadas is a nice little monster, but the best thing about Armadas is that your opponent can't activate cards when they attack your Armadas, and that's what's so amazing. You can even protect your cards with stuff like Deep Prison, Mirror Force, Forbidden Lance in the damage step, and there's not a single thing your opponent can do in response to you since they are attacking, declaring an attack on your Armadas. And that's what genuinely makes him so good. He just wins the battle against certain decks like Bujins. Nothing they can do. Shadows, those flip effects are not going away. Winda is not a problem. And even Burning Abyss, because those monsters really can't get messed with Armadas like they should be. Armadas is a really good game-changing card, and any time where floaters and flip effects are very relevant in the format, Armadas can definitely come down and dominate the game. The #1 synchro by any means. I don't think that there is a single format, not even this format, that necessarily hurts this card, is Black Rose Dragon. Now we just recently got Darkhold to 1 and we got Raigeki to 1. But one wonders, okay, if these cards aren't that great, why is Black Rose Dragon the #1 synchro in the game? There's an enormous amount of reasons why Black Rose Dragon is the best synchro in the game. First of all, it is a complete fill wipe. It doesn't just knock off monsters, it knocks off spells and traps alike. It completely dictates a game where if you summon a Black Rose Dragon and your opponent has huge amounts of back row, if they have no response to Black Rose Dragon's effect, you can possibly steamroll your way into winning the game. That's how great Black Rose Dragon is in any given format. Black Rose Dragon may not be as great as one would hope it to be in this format, since most cards in this format are floaters, but it still essentially knocks off your back row. And since you playing Black Rose Dragon, more often than not, he was free. You know, that Mathematician Felice combo you got running around, most of the tricks that Dragon Rulers do, or just any deck that necessarily plays Black Rose. More often than not, Black Rose is a free field wipe, and that's what makes Black Rose so great. Now, let's say nobody plays Divine Wrath, so let's say it's Breakthrough Skilled or Fiendish Chain. In decks like Dragon Rulers, that's perfectly fine. He's a level 7 dragon. He's perfect for them. They could just summon another Dragon Ruler and overlay for Draco Sack or Big Eye and continue on with the plays. Oh, he goes to the graveyard? He's a level 7 dragon. They can banish him and special summon rulers from their graveyard to the field. Now this is not only dictated to a Dragon Ruler deck, but decks that necessarily use one of the Dragon Rulers or maybe even two of the Dragon Rulers in their build can make use of Black Rose even when it does hit the graveyard. Its utility is amazing. Now let's not forget that Global did come down to 1 in our format, so plant decks are going to be just a little more played. Black Rose Dragon does have this other amazing effect that it switches a monster from defense to attack and reduces his attack to 0. That's 2,400 free damage to the side of the field had Black Rose Dragon somehow mythically stayed on the field or you just summoned it for that effect. Black Rose Dragon is the best synchro in the game because there is no other synchro like it. Summoning itself and wiping the field effectively, if played effectively, can destroy your opponent very successfully. It is still one of the most skilled cards in the game, but definitely the strongest synchro to hit the game as of right now. Well, thank you guys for watching another segment of the TheCaliEffect. There are a couple of honorable mentions like Goyo Guardian, Bills, and a couple of cards I like, but I don't think that they're better than these top 5 cards listed. I would like to know you guys' top 5 cards that I did not list down below. But most of all, enjoy, guys.